Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'll just give you a few moments to get used to Zoom, get yourself situated, connect to audio. I hope you can all hear me. This is an opportunity to get your cup of coffee. Thank you for joining us. We'll get started in just a minute. Hope you're all doing well. Very windy outside here in New York. While we let people join, I just like to always make sure that everyone's audio is working and that you're not entering a silent room. Nobody likes coming into a quiet room for an event. But thank you for taking the time. I hope you've all seen the film, Lieber-man. And if not, it's available on our streaming site for the next week or so, just a little bit more than a week. I think I'll get started with just some housekeeping and go over a few details of our program, upcoming programs. First of all, this program today is brought to you in partnership. We are so grateful to the New Israel Fund who have partnered with us on this program of Israeli leaders on film. A fabulous series that is perfectly timed with the Israeli elections. We will run the series till March 23rd. I was just reading up today on the Israeli elections a little bit, and I still don't understand why they're happening, but that's a whole nother conversation to have. Except that I think people are just constantly looking for more elections, it seems. I wouldn't be able to handle that pressure here. Earlier this week, we had the conversation, NIF hosted the conversation about the film Golda. On Tuesday, we are hosting here a conversation about a film that's about Menachem Begin, Peace and War. On Thursday, we have a film about Ehud Olmert, Honorable Men, The Rise and Fall of Ehud Olmert. That's going to be an international premiere here. And then the following Monday, which is the day before the elections, New Israel Fund will be hosting a film about Dov Hanim called Comrade Dov with the director Barak Heyman. We also have a film about Bibi running, King Bibi, and Ben Gurion Epilogue. So check all those out. I know a lot of you have bought the full pass and enjoy all of these wonderful films. And thank you for being a part of this. And we're proud to present this as part of also our Other Israel Film Festival, which ran in December virtually, and hopefully will be live in person this coming November. So stay with us. Now we're here for the conversation for the film Lieber-man. This, honestly, Avigdor Lieberman has basically, I think, decided the coalition or pushed us to elections in the last 3 cycles. Is in some ways one of the most powerful politicians in Israel today and a major playing card in all of this. And we are excited to have back with us the fabulous director of the film, Nurit Kedar. Nurit, thank you for being with us.
Hi everyone.
And this film really couldn't, in some ways, be more timely. And he's, don't worry, we can't catch it here. We just realized, by the way, Nurit was supposed to be on with us what would have been midnight in Israel, but actually because we changed the clocks, she got an hour earlier. So we're glad that this all came together. And folks at home, if you have any questions about the film, I'm going to start off with a few questions. And then if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, and then we'll call on you, turn on your camera, turn on your microphone, and we'll make you a part of the conversation as well. So we'll reach out to you, of course, if your question is chosen. I'm going to start off with a few questions. I have a lot of questions, but Nurit, first of all, has the film really, what can you say since you've made the film, and there have been multiple elections since then, has Avigdor Lieberman's persona changed at all, and how so since the last elections?
No. He's the only politician who is very, very precise, He doesn't change his views. He says everything which is on his mind. And he's very tough. very tough. And I think he always has like the 7 to 9 mandates, you know. So it's not like he got 15 or 20, but he's always in the middle.
Um,
And it's like a, but I read articles, you know, in Haaretz last week, and they also agreed that he is this kind of politician that doesn't change his mind. He's very, very precise. That's it. That's how
um,
he was in the film. It was very hard to make a film with him.
So, and I have a lot of questions about the making of the film too. But just to start off with this, with kind of what's going on now, one of his positions that wasn't really highlighted in the film was, and has been playing a big part, is the religious parties, his relationship to the religious parties. And right now, from my understanding, that's been really one of the key components that he's been using to attract voters.
Yeah,
His
sure.
kind of, he won't do a coalition with them. He won't talk to the religious parties.
Right. But that's he said 4 years ago and 8 years ago, you know. I think that when was it? Last week? No, this weekend. He was interviewed Friday night, and he said horrible things, really, against the ultra orthodox, really. And but he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Now in the film, it when I filmed him, through the like 4 years, it wasn't the highlight, the ultra orthodox.
Right.
So I didn't have, and anyway, it's very hard to make an interview with him because he is this kind of guy that he'll speak whatever he wants. So if you put a question and the question for him is not, it's not really, you know, he doesn't feel okay with it. So he looks on you into your eyes. He doesn't say a word, and now sit and wait.
Very interesting.
Believe
Yeah,
me.
there were a couple of moments in the film there where you see that he has this silence. He's not a man of many words.
No,
It's kind of odd for a politician. Politicians usually have too many words.
no, he is not. He's not this kind. No.
So why did he agree to be interviewed by you? I mean, I'm assuming he knew that, and I'm guessing here, not knowing completely who you voted for. Maybe you voted for him, but knowing your past films, you usually come from a left-wing perspective, and he agreed to be interviewed by you.
I think that I came to him. He, I mean, his secretary, you know, set up the meeting. I came. I spent with him 3 minutes or 4 minutes exactly. He didn't. Maybe he did, you know, research on me, but he said where the film will be broadcast. I said, "Oh yes." He said, "Yes, okay." And he called the secretary. Take whatever, do whatever she wants. That's it. That was the meeting.
All press is good press, and
Yeah, so I think that he knows that I'm not a journalist, okay? So it's different because I have the time to follow him, and you know, I didn't argue with him, even that I don't agree with his opinions, with the way he thinks, the way what he believes, but I never argue. Usually I don't argue with my, with my people in the films. I don't argue.
it's a smart move sometimes.
Yes,
And I don't think it would help to argue with Lieber-man. He's such a character, and that comes across in the film. Even for those who haven't been following his political career, his presence is very defined. I noticed you used there was a lot of archival interviews there. I noticed you could tell by the aspect ratio that and by the age of different people and how much white they have in their beard. There was a lot of archival interviews with Lieber-man, with Bibi, and with some of others. Were you working with a specific set of interviews? How did you work with the archival footage?
No, the archival, there was a Russian guy, a director, he passed away, and he gave me all his archive. And like 20 I think that it was like 20 years ago, he started to make a film on Lieber-man and Bibi. So that's how he had all the material, the crazy things, the meetings between them and everything. And so he gave me everything because he believed that I can make really a good film. So he just opened the archive, gave me everything and said, it's yours.
So studying Lieberman so deeply and spending time with him, what was most surprising to you about him that you didn't know beforehand?
He's a he was very connected to his parents, which I didn't know. The way he spoke about on his father and mother, like his father mostly. I mean, his father wrote poems, so he showed me the poems that his father wrote. They published a book. The way he used to he told me that he used to call his father every day, doesn't matter where. And his father always told him not to give up, push away, push forward, not to give up, push forward. If you came into the politics, stay there. And he was very influenced by his father. So that's something new that I learned, the connection between him and his father. I think that in one of his interviews that he spoke on his father, he even cried because his father is not alive. And he told me how he miss him. And the other thing that he invited me a couple of times to celebrate Passover, not the Seder, I mean, in the middle of the week, you know. And he is different when he's with family and friends, and he likes good wine, the best wine. And he can talk to you about all different of the wines, you know, all over the world. And how he spent time with the Hillary Clinton, or, you know, so it's like everyone. And he is great at the dinner table, great. Something different, and no way that you can put on the camera, no way. Because every time I said, maybe I'll put the camera, he said, Nurit, no. That's it.
It's interesting. It's like he doesn't want to show his human side.
He's great. He's great. But one more thing, like he used to call his advisor, you know, PR would call me and say, okay, tomorrow 1 o'clock. So usually I come half an hour earlier. So I have to stand outside. 1 o'clock, he'll come outside and say, welcome. Not 5 minutes before.
Just very, very non-Israeli.
Very nice.
Usually it'll be like a few minutes after 1.
And every time when you ask him, how are you? He always say, honey, like honey, you know?
Like honey, or like heaven.
Yeah.
Kol Gan Eden. Everything's heaven.
Kol Dvash.
Kol Dvash. He saw the film, I assume. What his reaction was.
Yeah. Nothing quiet.
Of course.
He was quiet, but one thing really amazed me. It was at the Jerusalem Film Festival last year.
Yeah.
You know, in the competition, and there was a great premiere. He didn't show up, but his wife came, his children, his friends. It was full house. And they applauded, and they came to me and said, great film. His wife said to me that 95% of him, it's in the film. 95% of him. Then 8 o'clock in the morning, he called me to the hotel, you know, the hotel, Hartzion, and he said, good morning. I said, good morning. He said, thank you, and hang up. Unbelievable.
He should write reviews.
Thank you. It was amazing, really.
Okay. Was there anything that you felt that you left out that you wanted to put in there about him?
No. I think, look, all these, it took me almost 2 years to make a lot of really huge research about, you know, what he was blamed of, the money problems, everything. And I couldn't get, it's like it was written all over the newspaper. I spoke with many journalists, but I didn't have any proof, any proof. So I understood that I can only do the talking, you know, the voiceover, and just to show how he went to the court, how he went to the police, but I couldn't come with any evidence. And all the journalists that wrote day and night on this topic, they didn't have any, you know, anything. So I couldn't interview even one of the journalists because first of all, they didn't want to appear because they didn't have to show me something. You can't make a film without proof.
So and I noticed you tried not to make any statements really, and really just kept with by telling his story and showing him without you trying to add in from yourself, which I think is fair journalism and an interesting way to portray him. Wouldn't you expect a lot of your viewers to want some more dirt?
Yeah, sure. But, you know, after the film was screened, I became an expert because there were elections. And the film was screened on, the night of the election. Okay? Like, I think it was screened 10 o'clock after they closed the polls. And then I became an expert for Lieber-man. I was interviewed all over.
One of the interesting things in the film to me was that they say, you know, him and Netanyahu, when their relationship changed, they each tried to call the other one a leftist. That's the worst thing you could say about someone.
Yeah.
And this is a phenomenon that Netanyahu and Lieberman have been using to, you know, detract the Israeli society from, calling somebody a leftist means that they have absolutely no credibility. And it's the worst thing for a politician. What does this say about Israeli society? Where has Israel come where you can't even be a leftist to have a ground to stand on?
I think that most of I don't know really numbers, but it's like in the polls. Many of the people in Israel, they adore Bibi Netanyahu. Doesn't matter what, where. Now he's like the one who invented, you know, the
vaccine.
The vaccine, yeah. So it's like people adore him because everything is great. So he can, and he's like a magician, you know. When he comes forward on television, he like every second, every sentence, he would mention the vaccine. I brought the vaccine. The corona is behind us. It's like he's the magician who did everything. And it's not exactly like that. And we had a lot of problems because of the government and he who didn't know how to handle it. But people don't see it.
Yep.
So I think that according to the polls, he's not getting more than 30 mandates, right?
Who, Lieberman or Netanyahu?
No, Bibi.
Netanyahu. Maybe.
Okay. So right now he doesn't have a coalition. He doesn't have the 61.
So we'll go for a fifth election.
Yeah, that's what it will be.
Oh, it's wild. I have two more questions for me, but then we'll take some questions from the audience as well.
Okay.
His treatment of Arabs, that's been his main campaign. You mentioned this in the film, that's really been his rise to power was by him taking a very strong stance against the Arabs. And I know he lives in a settlement, but after spending time with him, do you feel that his stance on Arabs is who he is? It's his personality and those are his feelings? Or is it a political position?
No, I think that for the last 3 elections, that's the poll, right? The poll election, they forgot about the Palestinian It's not the highlight of the day. It's not in the newspaper. The only thing was that like 3 weeks ago, they decided, okay, we have to vaccinate the 300,000 who come through the fence every day to work inside Israel. But up to the 3 weeks ago, no one spoke about it. So it doesn't exist, like the Palestinians disappeared. That's it. No one says a word. Even not one politician, not even the left.
It's fascinating that really the Palestinians are not, that question is not on the table. And
no, for the last 3 years, no one remember who are they. No, believe me. Like 2 months ago, I called friends of mine in the news asking what's going on with the Palestinians. There are around 400,000 people, Palestinian, who comes to work in Israel, in hospital, in buildings, in many places. So they are not vaccinated? How come?
So what do you think happened? Why isn't the Palestinian question?
I don't, nobody answered. It's like only 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, they started to vaccinate the people who get the permit to work in Israel, which is around 400,000. Okay? But the people in Gaza, they don't vaccinate them.
Right.
What can I tell you? It's for the last four elections disappeared. We don't have Palestinian. If you find a Palestinian, then it's great. Nobody write about it.
It's, and you know, I think from the American perspective, I think,
Yeah.
I mean, the Palestinian topic is obviously probably of the greatest concern, and the social stuff less so, which will create yet another divide between just the worlds of Israeli politics and Israelis and American
But
Jewry.
here not, I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Not even one politician say anything.
So let me ask you one more question, and then we'll take questions from the audience. And folks, again, you can put your questions in the chat, and we'll bring you on live. But corruption in Israel, corruption in Israeli politics is a big thing, and people have been trying to catch Lieberman on stuff for years. What is your theory? Why? I mean, they at one point said that, you know, where have these millions that you mentioned in the film? Where have the millions of dollars come from? What happened there, and how did he get away with it?
Because they didn't have any proof. Because the people from abroad, who were involved, they didn't want to come to testify. And without them, the police didn't have any proof at all.
And why do you think they didn't want to testify? Why do you think they didn't want to testify?
Because they didn't want to testify. I don't know, you know. I can tell you a journalist wrote, but it doesn't matter. They didn't come to testify. So it doesn't matter that the journalist wrote all over, and there were a lot of news about it, but no one had even one proof, that he really made some corruption. I mean, that he was corrupted, or he paid money to somebody, he got some present for that. It's different than what's going on with Bibi now.
Crazy. Let me take some questions from the audience, and we're going to start with Elaine. Elaine, you're on the air.
I wanted to find out or ask about what is Lieberman's focus now, and what is the issue that he is landing on now and going forward? Or what is the focus of his campaign?
Yes, Nurit, this is for you.
Oh, yeah. It's the ultra-Orthodox. That's his campaign. That's how he started three elections. I mean, for the 3 times, that's the first time, and that's what he keeps saying, against the ultra-Orthodox, everything. He's not going to sit with them, he's not going to talk to them, he's not going to form with them any government, he is against the ultra-Orthodox. I mean, it's like he said Friday night, kick them out.
It's really it's you know, he has to find his place in the right wing. You know, there's religious right, there's plenty of those, so he had to get the secular right, and I guess he gets the Russian vote as well.
Yeah, but the Russian is not the focus. For the last years, they are not the majority, because the young generation of the Russian, they are not for Lieberman. They are different. They feel that they are Israeli total. They can vote, you know, Yair Lapid. They can vote Gidon Sa'ar. They can vote for the Likud, but they are not identified with Lieberman.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's take another question. We have a question from Malcolm. Malcolm, you're on the air.
What caused the rift between Netanyahu and Lieberman? The movie showed that they were very close initially, and then over a period of time, they certainly have really become polarized from each other.
The truth, no one knows. I asked him in the interview, the last part of the film, what happened between you and Netanyahu? And he said that he is not a friend like he expected him to be a friend, but he didn't want to add more than that. So nobody really knows what was there.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
No one was in. No one else was in the room when it happened. Is that how the song goes from Hamilton? I have another question here from Bruno B. He asked that we read it out. Lieberman's wife was saying her husband was not what people think. What did she mean? What is it? What is just a wife's love or admiration? What do you think that meant?
No, I think that she admires him, and I spent a lot of time with her. She's a very nice lady, really very, very, but she's very, very dedicated for him. And for the family. I mean, that's the focus of her life, him and the family. And so I don't have more than that to say, because she admires him. And you know, if he what they speak between themselves, I don't know. But I mean, when I spend the time dinner, lunch, you know, he was really great with her. So I didn't see anything that he's mad at her or no.
Mm-hmm.
They respect her very much. And she is religious, by the way.
Oh, wow. That is shocking.
Yeah, she's religious.
And she's okay with his anti-religious positions?
You know, she's religious, but she's not Orthodox.
Not ultra-Orthodox, right? Okay, we have one last question from Lynn. Lynn, you're on the air. Lynn, you need to unmute.
Hello?
Hi, Lynn, we hear you.
Hi. Yep. Sorry, I was muted. Do you think that the lack of testimony and coming forward speaks to the still silent strength and fear of the various Russian, for lack of a better word, mobsters?
I don't understand exactly what speaks to the skills.
Do you think that the fact that people are not testifying against Lieberman might have to do with Russian mafia?
First of all, it's not Israeli people. They say one was from Latvia, I think, I don't remember, and the other one was from Cyprus. No one knows about them. You know, I don't know. No one knows. But they believe. I mean, the police wanted them to come and to testify, and they refused. They are not citizens. They are not Israeli citizens. You can't bring someone to testify because that's what you want.
I see.
So no one knows. Really, it's a bit mysterious. No one knows.
But there's no, I mean, from what I hear, I don't hear much talk of him. I mean, he looks like a mobster, but he hasn't had much mafia connections. There's a little James Gandolfini in him. And he definitely approaches things and with a similar style.
I don't know. He has his, he has his own style. You know, what can I say? What can I say? I don't know. But if you would meet him, you would love spending time with him. I'm telling you.
That's fascinating.
Believe me.
As many politicians, they have to have some sort of charm.
Yeah, Bibi is the same. If you'll spend time friendly with Bibi, you'll fall in love with him.
For sure. Nurit, I want to thank you very much. Thank you for the film. Thank you for being with us here tonight. Folks, I want to thank you for being a part of this conversation here on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. And have a great summer. It's on its way after the winter. And celebrate Passover.
For sure. We definitely feel spring is in the air. Folks, join us for more this week. We have the Menachem Begin film, the Ehud Olmert film coming up Tuesday and Wednesday. And then next week we have on Tuesday, Comrade Dove as well. So much more to discuss that I think gives us a deeper picture and an understanding of all this complicated situation that is the Israeli elections.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you all so much and have a good night.